So, you've just got a new tattoo and you want to know how to look after it. Let's get into it.
Tattoos, Anime and Warhammer. Tune into Ken Green Tats and Talks podcast.
Welcome to the Ken Green Tats and Talks podcast. With me, your host, Ken. So, this week we're going to go over the do's and don'ts of looking after a brand spanking new tattoo. Now, obviously, there are a million different ways of doing this. Everyone has their own sort of opinion and stuff like that. I'm just going to go over what would happen if you got a tattoo with me. So, let's start off with just going over the how to look after it. And then later on we'll do what to do before and all that kind of stuff. So, you've literally just finished your tattoo session with myself. What I generally do is I will apply a bit of cream and wrap you with like a absorbent bandage. That bandage you leave on until you go to bed that night. Then, just before you go into bed, you take that off, give the tattoo a good clean in hot, like lukewarm, but like hot on the hotter side, soapy water. Obviously, make sure your hands are clean before you do this as well. There's no point cleaning a tattoo with a big stinking dirty hand. You know what I'm saying? So wash your hands first and then give it a good clean. Once you've cleaned it down, pat it dry, preferably with kitchen roll. If you don't have kitchen roll, a clean towel, like one you haven't used for anything else, preferably kitchen roll, because then you can just throw it away. Don't use toilet roll, because that's going to stick to it and be all weird. It's like you've shaved yourself. You've got all these cuts. It'll be weird. Then you take a very small amount of cream. Now I may have given you some, or I've recommended some. Normally we just recommend something like cocoa butter, but like a tiny, tiny pea-sized amount, and start with that and rub it until it's gone. And if you need to go back for more, go back for more. If you don't, then you're fine. Then generally I'll give you a replacement sheet of the absorbent thing. You put that pad on, wrap it in cling film or tape it on, whichever's easier for you, and that'll do you overnight. Then when you get up in the morning, you take that pad off, and then give it another good clean. Usually if you're in the shower and something like that, that's fine. But if you're not going to have a shower, again, at a sink, lukewarm water, give it a good clean, pat it dry again with kitchen roll, and then apply a layer of cream. So the cream, generally I recommend using it sort of about 3 times a day for about 2 weeks. So usually in the morning when you get up and you're having your shower, or you get to put it in then, and then halfway through your day, and then just before you go to bed. Those are the 3 best times to kind of do it. Spreads it out nicely and stuff like that, and it will keep it sort of like nice and moisturized like throughout the day. If you're using the right amount of cream, your tattoo won't scab. You won't get any of those big, hard, blocky, scabby bits. You'll probably notice as you're rubbing it, it'll flake off on your finger or your fingers, whatever you're using. That's normal. That means the scabs aren't setting. They're just moisturized enough. But if you put too much cream on, they will stay kind of wet, and that could start an infection. So you need to make sure you're using as little as possible, just enough to cover the tattoo, not to coat it. You know what I mean? You don't want it wet. If it's too wet, it could lead to infection, because it's just going to keep it wet, and your skin does not like. Because like, imagine sitting in a swimming pool for 2 weeks. Your body's just going to start falling apart and being all gross. Same with a tattoo, especially considering it's technically an open wound. While it's sort of healing, we recommend no swimming pools, no saunas, steam rooms, anything like that. Keeping it out of water. Like I just said, you don't want to be sitting in water with a fresh tattoo. Then when it comes to exercise, kind of depends what you do. If you are going to a gym and stuff like that, we would sort of normally give it, I'd say leave it about sort of 48 hours before you go to the gym again. And then when you're at the gym, if you touch anything with it or something, make sure you clean your tattoo again and the machine that you touched, because you don't want to cross contaminate any kind of grossness like that. If you're doing contact sports, a lot of my customers do like MMA or taekwondo, judo, all that kind of stuff. Normally, you need a week before you get back into, because you need it to properly start sort of knitting together. So it's nowhere near as open as it would be at the beginning, and it probably doesn't hurt as much, because imagine getting slapped on that as you get thrown to the floor. Oh, that's going to be a pain. So you normally leave contact kind of sports for at least a week. It's probably best, just for your own sanity, as well as like cleanliness and looking after the tattoo and stuff like that. So 2 weeks is the best time. You can, of course, keep going for another couple of weeks after that, just to really help it settle in. 2 weeks is usually the healing time of it. So basically, what you'll need for the initial period after your tattoo is you'll need a cream, cling film, or tape, I suppose, kitchen roll, and soap. Those are the 4 main things that you need to look after your tattoo for those 2 weeks. Now, you can, of course, look after your tattoo before you even get the tattoo. Yeah. So coming up to your tattoo appointment, it can be a good idea, if you don't, is to moisturize the area just with a bog, like, I'm not saying get any ridiculously fancy thing, a bog standard moisturizer on the area you're getting tattooed for maybe a week or 2 beforehand. Because normally I'm book, when you book with me, you're booking a good wee bit in advance, at least a couple of weeks, so you've got plenty of time to moisturize the area. That's more just for me, really. I have found moisturized skin takes ink so much nicer. It's so smooth to go in and stuff like that, rather than sort of like chalky, hard kind of skin. So if you can, give yourself a wee simple moisturized treatment on the area you're getting tattooed for a couple of weeks beforehand. Always make sure you're hydrated as well. Try not to drink the night before. Now, there is a wee bit of an urban myth about drinking thinning your blood and all that kind of stuff. Yes, alcohol does thin your blood, but unless you're consuming insane amounts of alcohol, it's not going to affect the tattoo process. You know what I mean? Like, if you're an alcoholic, yeah, you're going to have problems. If you're an insane binge drinker and you went out the night before, yeah, it's probably not going to be the best day for you, or me, basically. But it's generally still not a good idea to drink before the night before, or a couple of nights before, just to keep your body at its best level. Also, a really good night's sleep will sort you out. Sort it like if, and I'm saying this as if everyone can fall asleep at any time. I understand with people's work or their sort of mental capacities, it's not always 100% possible to just sleep. So I appreciate that, but at least try be as well rested as you can be when you come in. Make sure you've eaten as well to keep the blood sugars up. Make sure you've got plenty of wee snacks if you need them to keep you going throughout the day. Because most of my sessions are pretty long. Now, obviously, we take breaks and we take lunch break and all that kind of stuff. But just to keep your energy levels up and all that kind of stuff, it's a good idea to have a good solid breakfast beforehand, and then have something that you know will keep you going if you feel like you're starting to falter, like Haribo or whatever it is you need. Those are probably the best thing to do before you get the tattoo. Then once the tattoo is healed and all that kind of jazz, you can you can you just moisturize your tattoo. It will always keep your tattoo looking brighter. On like if you look at mine, if you stick moisturizer, like I actually find it most when I put sunscreen on, that my tattoos brighten because I don't moisturize. It's kind of one of those things that it's always frowned upon for like men to moisturize. Well, I moisturize my face, but I don't moisturize my tattoos, and I probably should because they get the most battering, especially my legs. Very chalky legs. It's very strange. Um, but yeah, like moisturizing after it's all healed and stuff like that is fine. It'll keep your tattoos nice and bright. I wouldn't fall for those tattoo creams that you can get everywhere, and you can get them in Tesco's and everything. It's like it's just really expensive moisturizer. Anything will do. Like I don't even know the makes of moisturizers, but I'm sure like Dove and all that kind of crap. I've got one, Nivea and all that shit. Literally, a bog standard moisturizer will keep your tattoo looking vibrant for longer. But we're kind of lucky in our country is we have slightly crap weather and we're all pretty white. So our tattoos do look bright anyway. But it's just if you're going away and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're going on a big long holiday and stuff like that, and you've got a tattoo and you want to keep the colors like really vibrant, a nice strong sunscreen over those areas will keep the tattoo from fading too bad. Now we're not talking about like put factor 20 here and factor 100 here, so like this bit is white. But just a good strong one that you'll still get a kind of tattoo through, but it won't fade the ink just as quickly. That's pretty much it. This one's a short one this week. Literally is the do's and don'ts. Well, don'ts is literally don't roll around in shit. Like treat the tattoo as if it's like a cut. Keep it clean, keep it moisturized. Don't touch it off things. Don't literally roll around in shit. You know what I mean? A lot of tattoo aftercare is common sense. It is very much like follow the instructions and you should be dead on. There is certain body parts that will heal differently, like the ditch of your arm, your elbow, your knees, your lower legs. They all come with their own like pitfall. Like the ditch and the elbow, because you bend your arm a lot, they will tend to crack as it's healing. It's inevitable, but as long as you keep it moisturized, it shouldn't make you can't really see much of a difference on that one, and it cracked loads in that whole section. You know what I mean? Same with the elbow. It's probably some of it's worn out just from use on the elbow, but again, you keep it moisturized, look after it, and the cracking won't affect the tattoo, kind of thing. Lower legs, lower legs are a difficult one because it's almost like gravity just pulls all the fluid down, and your lower legs, like from the knee down, tend to swell quite a lot. So that can be a bit of a bugbear, especially when you're looking after it. By all means, take ibuprofen to help with the swelling. Right, it's not going to affect the tattoo. Generally, most people only swell a wee bit. They don't swell like loads and loads, kind of thing. So a tiny bit of swelling down there is fine, but again, you still need to make sure it's not too wet when you're moisturizing it and stuff, because then you'll get those issues, especially with the swelling pushing against the skin. The tattoo itself, the skin is harder to knit when it's swollen because it's pushing against it. So if that's wet and it's not letting itself knit together, it's just going to keep breaking. You know what I mean? And you'll probably end up with like quite angry areas. So just when it comes to the creaming, keep it small amount, just enough to cover it, and you should be able to, like, when you touch it, it'll be slightly tacky. It won't be like there won't be crap loads of cream on it. It'll just be slightly tacky. And I think even with cocoa butter, I think it rubs in pretty well, so it'll dry quite quickly. It'll feel like just normal skin after that. That's perfectly fine. A little is always better than more, because it's always easier to go back for a tiny bit more than it is if you've stripped out a whole crap load. You're trying to rub it in. Yeah, so that's it. Follow these things, and your money that you've spent, and it's probably a decent amount of money with this piece of artwork on your skin. If you look after it, it will look after you. Simple as that. Now I offer touch-ups in case there is, because sometimes you can't help it, like a wee scab can form and you could accidentally pick it out. Touch-ups are always included in my price, but I've been lucky enough that I haven't had that many. Also, always make sure you're not allergic to creams. I've had a couple of people recently using cocoa butter and having a reaction to it. So if you've never used cocoa butter before or anything like that, just try out a wee test area away from the tattoo and see what happens. There is other there's other kind of moisturizers for sensitive skin, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I should have researched this before I sat down. I've completely forgot the name of it. But you can just get it in Boots and stuff like that. And it seems to do the job if you've got sensitive skin. It seems to heal the tattoo fine as well. But yeah, that's it. Nice, be short and sweet one today. Spend your money wisely when you're getting a tattoo. Look after the tattoo wisely afterwards, and you will have an awesome piece of artwork that will last the rest of your life. I love yous. See you next week. Bye.